What do you want? I got a proposition for you.
Welcome back to Drawbridge Props and Armory. My name's Levi Woods and I'm a prop builder. I'm just wrapping up my second season of an Amazon Prime series called Man in the High Castle. And I was very fortunate enough to be part of the props crew there and got to do some cool things in the first 2 seasons. And Amazon has been nice enough to let me show you guys a behind the scenes peek at what it takes to create a prop for on-camera use.
Tell me something, Frank-san. How good a craftsman are you? I mean, seriously, how good?
I'm good. Real good.
Could you make this?
The prop that we're building, I'm going to show you the process of, is actually this little Civil War gorget that I'm wearing. And the idea in the story is that Frank has made it as a fake antique, and they're going to sell it as a real antique.
Any spot that is a fake?
The man's already got a forgery in his esteemed collection. He can't distinguish what's fake from what's real. Just make sure it looks good enough.
But now a build like this is quite interesting because the character is an artist and a jeweler. He starts in a sketching phase and we have to develop those sketches, and he's referencing a magazine and he is going to copy this object. We have to think about a lot of different elements when we're prepping a prop like this. We have to create the workstation where he's actually got the pieces, the tools required to actually create a piece like this. Then obviously we have to create the finished piece. And then because they're going to sell this gorget, we had to create a display box and certificates of authenticity that help to show the other characters in the movie that this is legitimately an antique.
The first step in the scratch build of this gorget was to show some research photos and with the producers decide how we would proceed. The idea was that it was a European gorget that had been modified by adding a hand-engraved image of a sitting bull. Christina started by providing an illustration of the overall size and shape, and then it was my job to build the pieces. Starting with flat sheets of brass and copper, I shaped the gorget and cut the outline of the bull with a jewelry saw. Next, I used a pneumatic engraver to create the deep engravings that showed the bull sitting under the moon and the stars with teepees in the background. When the final shape was approved, the rivets, main plate, and bowl were silver plated. Next, the leather liner and beaded necklace were riveted into place. My favorite chemical patina was added to make it look like an antique, and if you're interested, you can check out my video on how to patina metal. When the gorget was fully blackened, it was washed, dried, and then hand polished to enhance the highlights of the silver plating and further add to implied age. A light coat of clear wax offered a bit of protection and slightly dulls the finish. This is ideal for shooting reflective metallic surfaces. If you have a keen eye, you may have noticed that the gorget that Frank made had a brass bowl and not a silver one. When the gorget was complete, it was decided that it needed a bit more contrast. I remade the bowl in brass and replaced it before it played on camera. Another interesting thing about that scene is that Frank used the same piece of leather to cover the gorget that I had used to create the liner. On his bench were the same brass rivets, beads, sinew, and leather straps that I had used to create the beadwork. Now that the gorget was finished, it was passed to our art director, Michael Wong, who created the beautiful hand drawings that Frank would use on camera. Then it was photographed so that Christina could Photoshop the images into the magazine and sitting bull photographs that were created as printed props.
I see evidence of sand casting.
I left that deliberately, just smoothed it where rubbing against the chief's skin would have polished it.
It's excellent work. I will try to set up the appointment.
Not try. You sell it. And today.
Finally, the gorget made one final stop to Peter Zink, who modified this beautiful antique box to display the gorget.
The personal treasure of a true American legend. Now, as you hold this, think that anything that once graced the neck of this mighty chief is endowed with spiritual power. Here it is in the photograph, absolving any question of authenticity. Fine grain enlargement, a careful examination of that necklace in the photos offer proof.
Woo. This necklace has woo. I can feel it.
You know that this belonged to a noble man.
Hopefully you've enjoyed this peek into the work involved with world building in a unique project like Man in the High Castle. If you have, please show your appreciation by clicking the like button below and sharing with your friends. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.